Emma the bad guy for fostering my nephew against my brother's wishes. My younger brother, T, and I had been in a huge fight in the last few days due to a receiving event that happened in my family. To give you some context, T had a girlfriend in his early 20s. We didn't have a lot of interactions and they broke up. He never told me exactly why. Well, turns out he got her pregnant, and when she told him, he simply said he didn't want it nothing to do with her or her baby. She gave birth to Al. No one in my family knew about it since they never spoke again. The information that I got from his social worker isn't a lot, but this is everything I managed to gather. Al and his mother lived together for 2 years before he was taken away from her due to neglect. Since then, Al went from foster home to foster home. All I can say that the system wasn't nice on him, and he endured a lot in it. He has particular hearing loss, apparently has PTSD, and behavioral issues due to his surroundings. I'm not sure how they got the information that we're his bio family. Probably his bio mother finally told on T. I don't know if I'm angry about him never telling us that he got another girl pregnant, and that he simply sent her away. Anyways, his social worker told to my brother and asked him to take Al in. T asked for a DNA test and it's 100% his child. Al was introduced to my family and honestly, Al is a lovely kid. Everyone thought he would be difficult to deal with, but he's just a kid who desperately needs a family and somewhere safe away everything he endured. But T said that he was not going to take Al in. He explained that he has another family now. To say I was angry is an understatement. I just can't understand how dare him, knowing everything he went through and knowing that if he says no, Al will be forced back into this system that failed him countless times, so reject him. I fought a lot with my brother, but he wouldn't budge, saying that he can't bring an unknown child with mental problems to his house that he has small children in. So yesterday, I reached out to his social worker and asked her if I could be the one to foster Al. I explained to her my brother's motivates about the small children and told her that I wouldn't have the problem since my children are older than Al, and it will be better for Al to get used to his family that way. They liked the idea and started to look into it, and my brother was notified of that. We got in a new argument. He said that I have no right to do what I'm doing, that Al is not real family. I said that he is rejecting his rights as a father to Al, so he couldn't tell me what to do with his child. My brother got involved. He scolded T but said I overstepped when I asked to foster him, since he is still T's child, and it was obvious that he doesn't want Al around him. I'm not changing my mind. I'm actually the bad guy. I won't let Al into the system again, but I want to know if I'm a bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy for not allowing a marriage proposal happen on a film set. I'm currently a film undergrad, and for our final term project, we have to produce a short film in groups of 8. I was the director and main writer. We planned to shoot a number of scenes at the local mall, which was always busy. But after a lot of communication, we was allowed to film only for 5 hours. And if we went over time, we will have to pay a penalty fee that will put us over budget for our project. So we show up for our filming day. Everything went rather smoothly, and our team was efficient. But delays added up, and we had to rush our final few scenes. For our final scene, we had prepared a wall of yellow balloons at an outdoor square in the mall. When we showed up to him, however, there was a group of 3 girls, 2 holding bouquets, and 2 guys standing right in front of it. Our art director had been sitting nearby to make sure no one tampering with the wall, but she was occupied with an urgent call. As we set up, our assistant director P went to ask them to leave. One of the girls told us that their friend was heading there to propose to his girlfriend, and that the balloons made a romantic backdrop and will be nice for photos, and their friend was already informed to show up at the square. At this point, we were all set up with about 45 minutes to film our final scene. I went over and P informed me what was going. We again asked them to leave and cited our limited filming time, but they reminded adamant, saying that their friend was arriving soon and they don't want to take long. Some of the team felt bad and that we should just let the proposal happen first, but mostly we were worried about the penalty fee. I also voiced that having to rush the proposal and our team just standing around will take away from that celebratory joy. Plus, we don't have the time for them to take photos, stand around and celebrate. I went back to ask them to leave, this time threatening to call mall security. The 5 of them got agitated and started yelling at me. B and our art director G came running, and we were trying to calm them down when their friend and his girlfriend shows up. He came running over and asked what was going on, and after he learned about the situation, started yelling along with his friends. All the while, his girlfriend was standing around awkwardly, having heard our argument and their proposal now essentially ruined. Well, security showed up, and they were reluctantly left. We managed to finish filming the scene and cleaning up all our sets without any trouble before the given time. When I got home, I told my family about what happened over dinner. My mom and sister agreed with what we said, but my dad thought we shouldn't have let the proposal happen, saying it was a pity that we ruined the guy proposal and it was our own fault for not properly allocating our time. I'm the bad guy for not letting the guy propose on our film set. I'm the bad guy for suggesting calling off the wedding because she thinks the prenup is unfair. My girlfriend and myself have just found out that she's pregnant. She's adamant about not wanting to have a child out of wedlock, so we have been discussing getting married. We've been together for 3.5 years. Prior to finding out about the baby, we had only taken about marriage a little bit. I know she wants to get married badly, but I'm kind of on the otherwise of the fence. I'm not 100% against it, but definitely not eager, desperate to get married for multiple reasons. For one, my brother just recently got taken to the cleaners by his ex-wife. He pays her like 10k a month in addition to losing time of his properties. And that whole situation terrifies me, and I've never really seen what a marriage provides that makes that risk worth it. To me, it's just the same thing as being together how we are currently, but giving the state permission to be in our relationship. However, now that she's pregnant, and I've been more open to it just because I know how much it means to her. So we have started this process, and I'm slowly realizing that I may have bitten off more than I want to chew. While me and my girlfriend love each other very much and are compatible in pretty much every way, our ideas about marriage, the wedding, acts seem to be a little different. For starters, for the wedding, I was thinking we each pick some of our closest people. Maybe 10 or so each, I don't know, the number can be a little flexible. And go get married on an island, beach, stay for a week or so, or something cool like that, so we can have fun and enjoy it. She pretty much wants the exact opposite, have a massive wedding in a big venue. Now I don't see anything wrong with that type of wedding. It just seems like such a colossal waste of resources to invite every person we know, when we could instead have fun for a week or two, then get married on the beach with our closest people. It doesn't necessarily have to be the beach. I'm flexible, but I think you got the idea I'm going for. Versus the idea she's going for a completely two different schools of thought. She basically wants to invite every single person she knows. Like, I've looked at her list and she's got friends she hasn't seen in years. Her cousin, literally everyone. To me, if I'm gonna spend a buttload of money, we should do it for ourselves, not the people we barely know. We've been talking about compromises and making slow progress on that end, but we were getting here. She knew prior to getting married, I would require a prenup. I make about more than 4 of her salary and own property and plan to acquire more. I had my lawyer draft up a prenup and she has her own lawyer reviving it. This is where we came to an impasse. Her lawyer believed that prenups was unfair, and we've been going back and forth making changes. I've made some concessions, but I'm kind of at a point where I don't want to make any more. Well, I'll admit the prenup is definitely ironclad. I think it's fair considering the situation. I'm taking all the risk. Why would I continue to concede on things me and my lawyer both believe are fair? So recently we got in a minor argument over wedding stuff in general regarding the prenup wedding, and I was just like, maybe we should just keep things how they are. Of course she flipped. We've cooled her down since, and she says she still wants to make this happen, but that I need to be more open to compromise. I feel like given the situation, I've compromised more than I already should have. I talked to my brother about it, and he told I'm compromised more than enough, and to hold firm in worst case. You stay girlfriend-boyfriend, which is realistically probably better anyways. My sister disagrees and says I'm being a jerk for not working with her anymore. The way I see it, why will I risk everything I work for when I'm not even getting the wedding I want, nor the financial protection I want? Just so I can say I'm married. There's just very few tangible benefits I'll be getting in relation to the risk. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for cutting off my best friend after we slept together? I had had a crush on my best friend for the past 3 years of college. I finally got over it during winter break, right before we graduated this past spring. After graduation, we decided to go on a trip together, just the two of us, because it'll be the last time we saw each other for a while. I'm moving across the country for my job. During this vacation, we were having a lot of fun together, and it was very normal. As the time dwindled down, he started to do the very cliché male friend flirting, calling me short and small. And I'm only an inch shorter than him, patting my head and mocking some of my mannerisms in a jocular way, then saying he was kidding and that this was cute. This was abnormal behavior for us. I would never want to initiate anything, and I no longer had feeling for him, but I didn't ask him to stop and I played into it. 2 nights before the end of the trip, he started fighting me in the bed we were sharing. We hadn't touched each other until this point and started to cuddle me. We fell asleep like that, and in the morning, we called it more and he kissed me. We ended up canceling our last day plans and hook up. The entire time, he kept saying that I was his best friend and he cared about me. I asked, what does it mean? And he said, oh, Jed, that is good, we can do this and continue to be best friend after. But he also admitted to me that he knew I really liked him and also thought I still liked him at that point of him initiating. I was very unsure about my emotions, but I feel very happy. We parted out separate ways after the vacation, and I basically broke down and cried and called some other friends. I felt extremely emotionally confused and very upset, even though I was happy during it. My friends were really angry at my best friend, saying he emotionally manipulated me into physical activities because he knew I had liked him previously and wouldn't have said no even though he had no intention of being in a relationship. I disagreed because it was consensual the whole time, but then they asked me, why have you been crying for 3 days straight then? To add some context, neither me nor my best friend are the whole type. I've only had one previous boyfriend, and he actually had never ever kissed a girl and was a total virgin until this past moment. I ended up crying for a couple days, and my friends told me I should cut him off and end the friendship. But I had previously booked a trip before this happened to go see him in late September for a week. A month passed after we hooked up, and I became emotionally distraught over our friendship, and my other friends keep encouraging me to cut him off. So I canceled my trip without telling him, and then I told him I cancel it and probably will never see him again. He called me extremely upset and confused as to why I did this, and couldn't understand why I couldn't stay friends with him. I told him I felt he emotionally manipulated me for sex, even though it was consensual, and I needed to cut him off in order to move on with myself, and it was too difficult to remain friends. He told me I was being ridiculous, and I said I was sorry but couldn't. I feel awful about it and miss him and want to reach out again, even though my friends tell me not to. So, should I? Am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for treating my friend like crap over money? Here's the foundation. I lent my friend some money, over $100, when he was falling on hard times. He had no food or job, so I thought I could help him out even though I am also less fortunate. After a few months, the same friend posted pictures of himself flashing hundreds of dollar bills and new shoes, consoles, and food selfies. I was proud to see him doing well and didn't bother him about paying me back. During that time, I lost my home and stayed with my family. I said, friend, if they could lend me some cash so I could get clothes for a job interview since I had to move and quit my former job. No refuses. Okay, his money, his choice, fair enough. Weeks later, I managed to get a job and become steady again. While on my phone, my friend texted me saying that he had no food and was starving. And me being the dumb ass I was, I ordered him McDonald's that totaled to $30 and KFC that was $20. He was grateful for it. And say, oh, you're a lifesaver. And was all friendly and promised me to pay me back the $100 and an extra $50. Days later, when I didn't have any food due to me using most of my paycheck helping pay rent and Uber, gas money, asked a friend if he could lend me the more. Now since he recently posted on his Instagram stories of him going to mall and buying new shoes, an iPhone, and even a new dog, he asked as if I spat in his face and was livid that I dare ask him for money. It went something like this. Me like, could I borrow $30 for groceries? No, why do I have to give you money? You promised that you will pay me back. So, listen, I didn't get money like that to be giving away. You busted yourself spending $300 in flashing money. That was to promote my rap shit. So you aren't gonna pay me back? He left me on scene and didn't respond for 2 months. He later came back pleading for me to buy him some food again because he was now broke. I reject to help him in any way ever again. And now our mutual friends is saying I'm a bad guy for being distant and dismissive to him over $150, but it was more than just for the money. He didn't keep his promise and used me as a meal ticket and was only my friend when he could get something out of it. So, am I the bad guy here? What do you think?